2 decades ago, during the behind-the-scenes filming of a movie depicting the final moments of Jesus Christ, extraordinary phenomena occurred that defy any conventional scientific explanation. Eyewitnesses report events that transcend everything we understand about the laws of physics and material reality. At the precise moment when the lead actor uttered his last words in Aramaic, something absolutely forever transforming the experience of everyone involved. What you are about to discover are not mere movie stories. They are documented accounts from respected professionals in the audiovisual industry, doctors, technicians, and actors who experienced phenomena that they still cannot fully explain. These are not rumors spread on the internet or urban legends. These are testimonies from people with established professional credibility who were present when the impossible happened. Each of these events had multiple witnesses. Some were even captured by filming equipment, generating records that experts continue to analyze without being able to find satisfactory explanations. The director invested $30 million of his own money in this project, since no Hollywood studio had agreed to work with this creative vision. He did not expect that forces we do not understand would emerge during filming, catching everyone completely off guard. From electrical discharges that struck people without causing serious injuries to instantaneous cures confirmed by medical professionals, the set transformed into an arena where events challenging our understanding of reality constantly unfolded. The lead actor warned his wife even before accepting the role, telling her that her life would never be the same again. He was absolutely right, albeit for the most unexpected and perplexing reasons imaginable. During the months of filming, he went through situations that led him to deeply question everything he believed about the boundary between the physical and spiritual worlds. The first mystery. The first of these events occurred while they were filming the Sermon on the Mount scene. It was a cloudy day in Italy when something extraordinary manifested itself before 350 extras and the entire technical crew. The actor was positioned atop a hill, preparing to pronounce the blessings, when he began to feel something strange emanating from the environment around him. A strong wind was blowing. Dark clouds hung low, creating the sensation that someone could reach them and touch them. There was something mystical happening in that place, he himself recounts. He felt a particular energy in the earth, as if the ground vibrated beneath his feet. And then what witnesses describe as unforgettable occurred. The actor recounts that approximately 4 seconds before the impact, he understood he was about to be struck by lightning. "I felt a suction," he reports. The sound of the wind completely disappeared, and then a deafening bang. I felt as if my soul was being ripped from my body. What all 350 people present witnessed left them in absolute shock. Flames radiated from the right and left sides of his head. An otherworldly luminescence completely enveloped his body, creating a spectacle that many described as utterly disturbing. "I felt like I was lit up like a Christmas tree," the actor describes. The most surprising thing is that, despite the devastating force of the discharge, I felt more alive than at any other moment in my life. What makes this even more enigmatic is that the assistant director, who approached minutes later to check on him, was also struck by lightning in the same spot. Throughout the filming process, lightning struck people 3 times, a statistic so improbable that meteorologists cannot offer any explanation. The cameras were rolling when the first lightning bolt struck. The director yelled, "Action!" and the cameras began to move toward the actor when an inexplicable burst of light appeared on the screen. When the cameras finally focused on the actor, the director shouted, asking what had happened to his hair. The actor described how he looked like someone who had just stepped out of an eccentric hair salon. His hair was completely standing on end. But there is an even more disturbing detail in this first mystery. In an interview given in 2023, the actor revealed for the first time that he was clinically dead for a few minutes after being struck by lightning. They took me to the hospital, and I was truly dead for a few moments, the actor confessed. When they revived me, I felt even closer to God. This revelation sheds entirely new light on the events that would later unfold on the second mystery. The second of these extraordinary events occurred while they were filming the scene of the flagellation, leaving the doctors completely perplexed. What should have been a controlled and careful reconstruction of the sufferings endured by Jesus turned into something completely out of control in a way that no one can adequately explain. The actor was supposed to receive simulated blows, while a protective shield hidden behind his back would absorb the real impacts. What unfolded next defies all medical and physical logic. One of the actors playing the Roman centurion completely missed his mark. The flogging instrument went over the protective barrier and struck the actor in the back with full force. It was like being hit in the stomach, only in the back, describes the actor who received the blow. The blow was so strong that I couldn't breathe. The pain was so intense that I simply couldn't draw air into my lungs. The actor acknowledges that at that moment, despite playing Jesus, he felt completely out of control. Words that Jesus would certainly never utter escaped his lips as he turned toward the actor who had struck him. But what happened in the following minutes transformed his anger into something completely different. Shortly after, the same actor made another mistake, and the actor received a second, real blow. This time, the instrument spread its back by more than 30 centimeters. Blood began to flow immediately, staining the costume and covering part of the floor. The medical team was urgently called in to assess the extent of the injuries. What disturbed the doctors was not just the depth of the cuts, but something much stranger. The doctor in charge on set documented that the wounds presented a specific pattern. This pattern corresponded exactly to historical descriptions of the injuries caused by the multi-thonged Roman whip used during executions in the 1st century. This was impossible, the doctor explains in her clinical report, which has been preserved to this day. The instrument used in the filming was a modern replica made of soft leather to prevent injury. It shouldn't have caused such deep and precise cuts. Furthermore, the pattern matched the type of whip that was not being used in the recordings. But the mystery doesn't end there. When the medical team cleaned away the blood to examine the wounds more closely, they discovered something that defies any scientific explanation. The wounds began to heal at an impossible speed. Within hours, the cuts that should have taken weeks to heal regenerated completely on their own. The doctor collected blood samples from the actor for laboratory analysis. The results, which she had kept for years, revealed cellular abnormalities for which she found no explanation. The blood cells exhibited characteristics she had never seen before, the doctor admitted. They maintained viability far beyond the normal lifespan and demonstrated regenerative properties when in contact with damaged tissue. What's most impressive is that the actor felt no pain during the healing process. On the contrary, he described a sensation of warmth spreading across his back, as if something was healing him from the inside out. It wasn't simply the absence of pain, the actor explains. It was as if a healing energy was working through the wound. Days later, when the doctor removed the bandages to check the progress, she witnessed something that left her speechless. The wounds closed completely, without leaving even the slightest mark. In decades of professional practice, I have never witnessed such rapid and perfect regeneration, admits the doctor. Injuries of this depth typically leave permanent and visible scars. Scar tissue is evident. On the actor's back, there was no evidence that these wounds had ever existed. The production team was so disturbed that the director ordered all medical documentation to remain confidential. He feared that if the story leaked, people would think it was a publicity stunt to promote the film. Some things are too sacred to be turned into propaganda, the director said many years later. But there is an additional aspect to this mystery that has only recently been revealed. The makeup assistant responsible for creating Jesus' artificial wounds recounts something unusual that occurred the day after the actor's wounds healed. We arrived on set to apply makeup to the actor's back, as we did daily. But when he removed his shirt, traces of the previous day's makeup were still there. These weren't just simple residues. They were perfect marks, as if they had been applied that morning. The problem is that all the makeup was completely removed the night before, she insisted. My team and I used specialized cleansing agents, making sure the skin was absolutely clean. We checked 3 times. There was no trace of makeup when the actor left the trailer last night. This phenomenon repeated itself for several consecutive days. No matter how meticulously they cleaned his skin, traces of the wounds would reappear during the night, as if something were recreating Jesus' wounds on his body even while he slept. The doctor began to document this phenomenon with photographs. The images in your archive clearly show how the marks appear and disappear without any logical explanation. It's as if the actor's body has a cellular memory of Christ's wounds, the doctor suggests. Something was using her body as a means of communication. The third mystery. The third mystery occurred during the filming of the crucifixion scene and involved the instantaneous spiritual transformation of a man who was a staunch atheist. An Italian actor who played Judas Iscariot arrived on set declaring himself a devout atheist. He accepted the role solely for the remuneration and made it absolutely clear that he considered religion an invention to control naive people. For weeks he openly ridiculed the faith of the other actors and crew members. He would joke during breaks about participating in an adult fairy tale and refused to participate in the usual prayers before the start of shifts. A priest who served as a religious consultant on the film recalls that the actor was particularly hostile whenever someone mentioned spiritual themes. He was aggressively anti-religious, the priest recalls. It wasn't simply that he didn't believe, it was that he publicly attacked any discussion about faith. Everything changed. During the filming of the scene in which Judas betrays Jesus with a kiss, on a cold day in Italy, the crew was filming the episode in the Garden of Gethsemane. The actor was supposed to approach the actor playing Jesus, kiss him, and hand him over to the Romans. When the director yelled "Action!" at the precise moment the actor leaned in for the kiss, something extraordinary happened. He froze completely, his body began to tremble, and tears started to stream down his face. Initially, the crew thought it was an acting technique, but when the director yelled "Cut!" the actor remained motionless, staring intently at the other actor. "I couldn't move," he reported in an interview a year later. "When I looked into the actor's eyes, I didn't see that person. I saw someone, another entity, someone who knew all my sins and mistakes, but still loved me completely. I experienced an unconditional love that I had never felt before. What followed left everyone in complete silence. The actor fell to his knees and began to cry uncontrollably. These were not tears of sadness, but of profound relief. Later, he described it as if decades of anger and bitterness had been washed from his heart in minutes. The priest, observing the scene, immediately understood that something profound had occurred. I have witnessed many conversions, but never such an instantaneous and radical transformation. It was like witnessing Saul becoming Paul on the road to Damascus. When he calmed down, the actor approached the priest and said in a trembling voice, "I need to confess something right now." The priest recalls that it took the actor hours to unleash a decade of accumulated malice, resentment, and guilt. He was completely transformed by that experience. The person who entered the confessional was not the same one who, hours before, had ridiculed faith as if they had been born again. The actor's transformation wasn't just emotional. Colleagues immediately noticed physical changes. His posture, the tone of his voice, and even his facial expressions became different. It was as if years of bitterness had been wiped from her face, observed the head of makeup. The following week, the actor became one of the most devoted on set. He participated in all the common prayers, fasted on the appropriate days, and began to study the Scriptures intensively. At the end of the filming, he baptized his children and formalized his marriage in the Catholic Church. The fourth mystery. The fourth mystery was intimately connected to the transformation of the actor who played Judas. That same week, a Muslim member of the security team also experienced a profound transformation. This man was hired as a local security guard and also played the role of one of the Roman guards who tortured Jesus. He practiced Islam diligently and initially felt uncomfortable participating in a Christian film. He accepted the job out of economic necessity and planned to remain strictly professional. In the first few weeks, he avoided any religious discussion and would always walk away whenever Christian prayer. Everything changed. While playing one of the soldiers who were flogging Jesus, he suddenly realized he couldn't go on. My hand simply couldn't hold the whip. It was as if an invisible force was preventing me from moving. The actor who was receiving the simulated blows noticed that the soldier had stopped. Turning around, he saw that the soldier was trembling and crying. "Forgive me," whispered the soldier in Arabic. "I can't do this." What the soldier experienced, he describes as a vision. "I saw Jesus not as an actor playing a role, but as he truly was 2,000 years ago. I saw eyes full of compassion even while he was being tortured. I understood that he was dying for my sins as well." The soldier left the set and went to his tent to pray. He spent several days grappling with that experience, consulting the Quran and asking for divine guidance. Eventually, he sought out the priest to learn more about Jesus Christ. He asked very profound questions about the nature of Christ, the priest recalls. He had truly encountered the divine and wanted to understand what that meant for his faith in his life. Although he did not convert immediately, his understanding of Jesus changed completely. He began studying both the Bible and the Quran, trying to reconcile that experience with his Muslim faith. Months later, he wrote to the director describing how the film had transformed his spiritual life. The fifth mystery. The fifth mystery was related to a Romanian actress who played Mary, the mother of Jesus. During filming, this actress discovered she was pregnant, but decided not to reveal it immediately. She didn't expect her pregnancy to begin influencing her performance in such extraordinary ways. In the crucifixion scene, when Mary witnesses the death of her son, the actress experienced real physical pain corresponding to what a mother would feel upon seeing her son die. It wasn't acting pain, it was genuine, deep and devastating pain, as if I were truly losing my son. What's most unusual is that the child she was carrying reacted vividly during the most emotional scenes. During the journey to the crucifixion, the baby kicked so hard that the actress had to pause between takes, as if the baby understood exactly what was happening in the scene. A gynecologist who was discreetly monitoring the pregnancy documented unusual patterns in fetal activity during the recordings. The baby demonstrated a level of activity directly corresponding to the emotional intensity of the scenes, the doctor explains. It was as if she was reacting not only to her mother's emotions, but to the spiritual content itself. When the actress finally revealed to the lead actor that she was pregnant, she said in a Romanian accent, "I have a baby in my stomach." The actor understood and was touched by the symbolism, as if life and death were dancing together on that set. While we were depicting the death of Christ, a new life was growing within Mary. The sixth mystery. The sixth and final mystery occurred during the filming of the resurrection and involved a phenomenon that left the technical team completely without explanation. It was the last week of filming, and the director had planned a symbolic scene of the empty tomb for the film's ending. The team prepared the site in a natural cave in the surrounding area. When the cameras started recording early in the morning, something completely unexpected happened. A bright luminescence began to radiate from inside the cave. It didn't come from any lighting equipment. The cinematographer immediately checked all the spotlights and generators, but found that none of them were working. The light had a quality unlike any artificial lighting I had ever known, he recalled. It was golden, but with silvery reflections. Furthermore, its intensity was such that reproducing it with our equipment without blinding people would be impossible. However, this light did not hurt the eyes. 4 cameras recorded the scene from different angles. When the light came on, all 4 simultaneously failed due to electrical overload, their internal systems burning out. Nevertheless, everyone present saw the light with perfect clarity to the naked eye. Several people have reported temporary blindness for minutes after looking directly at the luminescence. One of the camera operators described it as follows: "When I looked directly at the light, I lost my vision for a while. But during those minutes, I had clearer visions than anything I had ever experienced. I saw unfamiliar landscapes and people who seemed to be close to me." The sound engineer captured something even more disturbing. Every piece of equipment captured a harmony that shouldn't exist. After analysis, she revealed harmonic patterns that corresponded exactly to the oldest known sacred chant, particularly Gregorian chant from late antiquity. "It was as if the cave were singing," explains the sound. The frequency was not coming from any external source. It seemed to emanate from the limestone walls themselves. We discovered harmonics that theoretically do not occur naturally. The effect of the light on people was the most impressive. They all described feelings of profound peace that persisted for weeks. Some reported instant emotional healing from traumas they had carried for years. A production assistant, who had lost a child months earlier, said that as long as the light remained in the cave, she felt her son's presence. "I felt his hand in mine and heard his voice saying that everything was all right with him and that I didn't need to carry the guilt anymore," she recounted. A doctor present documented measurable physical changes in several of those present: normalization of blood pressure, stabilization of heart rate, and in 2 cases, complete disappearance of chronic pain. When the light finally faded, it left a permanent mark on the stone, a bright mark, visible to this day. Geologists were invited to study this mark. A geology professor from an Italian university confirmed that the mark was not caused by heat, chemicals, or known physical process. The molecular structure of the stone was altered in a way that we cannot explain, he admitted. It's as if the light left a permanent signature on the matter. The 6 mysteries of Christ's Passion were not isolated episodes, but parts of a larger pattern that continues to influence lives around the world. Everyone who was involved in the filming is certain that they participated in something much bigger than just a simple movie. The director, reflecting years later, admitted, "There were things that happened during that job that I will never fully understand. So far, no one has been able to explain them. Perhaps that's the purpose. Some mysteries are not meant to be explained. They need to be experienced." The lead actor summarizes his experience in a way that touches anyone of faith. Playing Jesus wasn't simply a job. It was a personal encounter with the divine. Each wound, each pain, each miracle I witnessed brought me closer to understanding who he truly is. The mysteries continue. Years later, people around the world report supernatural experiences related to the film. Unexplained healings, visions, conversions, and spiritual encounters that transform lives. The question that remains is not whether this happened. The evidence from the witnesses is abundant. The real question is, what does this mean for us today? How do we respond when the divine bursts into our reality in ways we cannot comprehend? The lasting impact of these mysteries continues to transform lives. What began as inexplicable episodes during filming has become a legacy of spiritual renewal that reaches millions. The actor speaks candidly about how that role transformed not only his career, but his soul. "I am not who I used to be. To carry the cross, to feel real pain, to experience supernatural phenomena. All of this has changed me in irreversible ways. Now I know without a shadow of a doubt that Jesus is real, and his love knows no bounds. The heart tests the actor had to undergo after being struck by lightning revealed something remarkable. His heart developed a special electrical resistance. It was as if the lightning strike had left a permanent mark on his cardiovascular system, the cardiologist, and a brand that strengthened him instead of harming him. The actor is prepared to return to the role of Jesus in a planned sequel about the resurrection of Christ, which the director intends to film. I know that playing this role again will mean facing new challenges and possibly new mysteries, but I also know that I am called to this. The events of the first shoot prepared me for what's to come. The anticipation for the sequel is immense, not only among fans of the original, but also among those whose lives were spiritually transformed by that film. Many are wondering, will there be new phenomena accompanying the recordings of the resurrection? If God chose to use the first film as an instrument of His grace, I believe He will do the same with the sequel, suggests the consulting priest. What we witnessed was only the beginning. The resurrection is an even more powerful story. I hope that God will reveal Himself in even more extraordinary ways. These mysteries remind us that we live in a universe infinitely more sacred and enigmatic than our rational minds normally admit. They invite us to remain open to the impossible and to accept that our understanding of reality may be too limited to embrace the whole truth. For those who are moved by these narratives, the message is clear. God continues to work in our world in powerful and transformative ways. These were not unique and isolated events, but examples of how the divine breaks into our lives when it finds open and willing hearts. The main question is not whether we believe in these mysteries, but whether we are willing to be transformed by them. Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives, everyone who seeks finds, and to everyone who knocks the door will be opened. The door remains open for each of us. The decision to cross that threshold is yours. If these stories touched your heart, don't forget to support this content by leaving a positive vote, subscribing to our channel, and sharing your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us create more content that inspires and transforms lives. Join our community and stay connected for new soul-nourishing insights. The mysteries continue, the spiritual transformation goes on, and the invitation for a personal encounter with the divine remains open to all.